Inflection point, ignition point, escape velocity. When a nuclear reactor comes online, when the chain reaction starts up, we call that criticality. Bitcoin's reached criticality. The network has come to life. The work's done. The power's flowing. And there's no off switch. Satoshi's fire is now unstoppable, right? The network is unstoppable.
Hey guys, welcome to Everyday Finance. Not even a year ago, it didn't seem likely that governments, banks, or big businesses would accept Bitcoin. However, that story is changing very quickly. Institutions that made fun of Bitcoin in the past are now quietly putting it in place. Politicians who didn't care about it before are now publicly supporting it. Also, corporate treasuries are starting to add Bitcoin to their balance sheets behind the scenes. This is a small but significant change in strategy. Even so, more than 99% of the world's capital still acts like Bitcoin doesn't exist. Michael. Saylor thinks that this huge gap is one of the most important chances of our time. He thinks that a global monetary reset is about to happen, and Bitcoin will change from an unstable experiment into a safe way to store value that can keep wealth for generations. It's not just about speculation anymore. It's about making it. In a world where the economy is changing quickly, this is Michael Saylor's latest Bitcoin thesis. He'll also talk about his bold price prediction and why now may be the most important time in Bitcoin's history. Make sure you don't miss what comes next. Like, subscribe, and click the bell.
12 months, what's going on? Bitcoin is still running hard, running harder than it has been, up 61%. The Magnificent Seven and the S&P are underperforming. They're struggling. The tariff wars, the trade wars have been a challenge for them. There's been a general mainstream lagging of confidence, and that's caused a surge in gold. But Bitcoin is running much harder than gold. Real estate soldiers on, and bonds continue to fail. Bitcoin's outperforming all asset classes this decade, too. So it continues with what you would expect, 56% on average ARR for the past nearly 5 years. More than double the Mag 7. That's more than double, about double the S&P. You've got gold, a little bit of a surge starting to catch up, but gold's still underperforming the S&P, and real estate less. This is an important chart. Here's what this chart is telling you. The cost of equity is 13%. That means that if a company's capitalized on gold, real estate, bonds, soybeans, oil, any other commodity, it can't beat the cost of equity. You cannot sell equity to buy real estate. It's dilutive. There is only one asset that a company in the world can hold that you can capitalize on that is higher than the cost of equity, and that is Bitcoin. And so you see the explosion in Bitcoin treasury companies is because now that the world's recognized a digital commodity, they also recognize it beats the cost of equity. That means that every public company, in theory, should recapitalize on Bitcoin, because when they sell equity, they're actually generating profits. They're creating an accretive transaction for their shareholders, right? The world is waking up to this. You see that hence you see an explosion, in the shares of Metaplanet and Smarter Web and H100 and Blockchain Group, right? This is going to continue. These companies are going to catch fire everywhere in the world, in every capital market, for one simple reason. Investors can see that 56% is more than 13%. It's just that simple. And this is it's a very powerful dynamic. And yet Bitcoin is just 20 basis points of global wealth. So here's an interesting thing. We are now at an inflection point. We have all the information to know Bitcoin is winning, and yet the majority, 99.8% of the capital in the world, still pretends and acts like it isn't. Most is still oblivious. You know something the rest of the world has not yet acknowledged, and yet it couldn't be clearer to all of us in this room. There's a monetary revolution afoot, a revolution in economic thinking. It's spreading everywhere in the world. It's fueled by the digital transformation of the capital markets that you see manifested in all of these companies and all of these securities and all of this Bitcoin activity. And it's going to be accelerated by explosive financial innovation. That innovation is surging now. You can see it everywhere around us. Every single company is thinking, how do I integrate? What am I going to do? So the revolution is afoot. The world is bullish on Bitcoin. It's being adopted faster and more aggressively by governments, by banks, by corporations, by investors than nearly all of us thought a year ago, right? We were bullish a year ago, but certainly I'm hearing now BBVA is supporting Bitcoin. I'm seeing the Secretary of the Treasury saying it's okay for banks to Bitcoin. We've seen the explosion of all these Bitcoin treasury companies. I didn't think they would go so fast. I didn't think Smarter Web would go from £4 million to £1 billion in 2 months. Let's give them a hand. That's amazing. So of course you're bullish, I'm bullish, but the point is the governor of Texas is bullish. The point is the president of the United States is bullish. The point is people you don't know in places you've never been are bullish. This is extraordinary. And I take a moment to go back to someone that was bullish when none of us were here, when none of us had this information. January 10th, 2009, the network launched technically January 3rd, but it was kind of clicking away by January 9th. And the next day, a certain genius estimates that Bitcoin could be $10 million a coin. And this is so humbling. It took the rest of us 16 years, $2 trillion in order to come to a conclusion that, yeah, this is going to happen. Inflection point, ignition point, escape velocity. When a nuclear reactor comes online, when the chain reaction starts up, we call that criticality. Bitcoin's reached criticality. The network has come to life. The work's done. The power's flowing. And there's no off switch. Satoshi's fire is now unstoppable, right? The network is unstoppable.
Michael Saylor has a big idea for Bitcoin's future. He thinks that all 21 million coins will be in use by 2046, and each one could be worth $21 million. For that much growth, the annual return would have to be about 28.5% from now on. Ready to go? Yes. Not possible? Not at all. Bitcoin has already beaten the odds by doing better than every major asset class for more than 10 years. Through bear markets, strict rules, institutional skepticism, and constant media doubt. But it hasn't just lived through it, it's thrived. According to Saylor, Bitcoin might not only be a good investment by 2046, but it might also be the best investment ever. Why? Because it's not like anything else in the money world. No CEO. No meeting room, no debts to pay, no lines. It's spread out, can't be hacked, and is designed to grow in value over time. Bitcoin will not only do better than expected if it keeps going in this direction. It could become the standard by which all other assets are measured. Saylor says that in the future, people will not ask if you should sell, but why you didn't buy more.
Satoshi's point is the Schelling point of global money. We can now see, you can see, I can see, the rest of the world is beginning to see that in fact there is an inversion and there's a transformation. This network doesn't need me anymore. This network doesn't need anyone anymore. It's going to continue to grow, and no one can stop it. And so with that, with the help of all that information, I'm going to now share my Bitcoin prophecy. I think we're going to be $21 million in 21 years. It's a very special time in the network, maybe the one time in the history of the network where you look out 21 years and you see 21 million. Specifically, I expect 21 million coins at a $21 million price in 21 years, and people ask, how's the network going to grow? It's going to be growing at 21% in 21 years. The volatility is going to be 21. This is all, the only number you need to remember is the number 21. And what does that look like? Well, that looks like 28.5% from here. Not that different, slightly less than 29% ARR. But the path to 21 million, it's not going to be simple. It's going to be volatile. And so you're going to see a volatility, and it's going to damp over time, but you got to be prepared for the volatility, for the surges and the drawdowns, the good days, the bad days. This is Bitcoin's annualized return looking back a decade, looking forward 2 decades. And you can see that the network was growing faster when it's small. That's totally rational. It's now in the mid-50s. What do I expect? I expect it will continue to grow exponentially, but as it approaches hundreds of trillions of dollars, it will decelerate to the point where it's growing about 21% a year. Now, how does that compare to the S&P? It'll be growing faster. In 20 years, it's still going to be the best idea. It's still going to be the most lucrative capital asset a company can hold. It's still going to be durable, vital. There will not be a better investment in the year 2046. And I think it's very important to understand that Bitcoin's trending toward the performance of the best capital assets in the world, in the conventional world, which are like, Mag 7 digital monopolies mixed into an index. It's trending toward it, but it will never reach it. And it will never perform at that level because it's always going to be better. It's always going to be more useful. It's always going to be less risky. It's always going to have the counterparty risk of a company stripped away. There's never going to be a CEO to subpoena. There's never going to be a labor force. There's never going to be the challenge of a supply chain. It's never going to have a tariff on it. It's going to be pure digital energy, pure economic energy. By then, it will be moving at the speed of light on layer 2s, on layer 3s. It'll be moving 10 million times a second. It'll be trading between billions and billions of nodes and billions of other nodes. There's going to be nothing else to compete with it. It will be the most valuable thing, performing the best. You're not going to want to sell it in 21 years. You're just going to wish that you had acquired more of it. And here's the volatility. Looking back, volatility. Okay, it's 80, 90 vol, 100 vol. Today, it's the mid-50s, the mid-40s. What do I expect? Well, this is kind of very straightforward. The volatility is going to also dampen as the asset class grows, as the structure matures. As the options markets come on, when the banks embrace Bitcoin and they'll give you a loan, the volatility will damp. When it's fully banked, when it's fully optioned, when the mainstream investors are invested in it, the volatility will damp. But the volatility of the S&P is the VIX, it's 16. Bitcoin's going to be 21. Bitcoin's always going to be more volatile because it's more useful, because it's more pure, right? And because it's more leverageable, because you'll have more capabilities and you'll be able to do more with it everywhere in the world. It will be raw economic energy, and that's okay. Volatility is vitality. So now you have a future, $21 million, 21 ARR, 21 vol. This is the important part of the presentation. What will you do?
Again, Michael Saylor has a strong point of view. This time, it's not just about owning Bitcoin. It's about building a future around it. Saylor thinks that early adopters have a unique and rapidly closing 21-year window to get ready before the rest of the world wakes up. Most of the world's capital is still on the sidelines. His plan is clear. He will save money, use credit wisely, and think about the long term. That could mean dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin, using structured loans to move gains to different investments, or even getting more capital through equity to spread the risk. No matter how you do it, the goal is the same. Get as much Bitcoin as you can now, while it's still cheap and not well understood. Saylor thinks we are at the start of a financial revolution. Early adopters can change not only their own lives, but also the lives of everyone else who is connected to them. He said that conviction, not cash, is the most valuable form of capital right now, and the winners will be the ones who hold it early. If this message speaks to you, please click like and share your thoughts in the comments. Stay tuned for more as we continue to look into Bitcoin's ability to change things.